Hello everyone, welcome to Success Education. Today we'll be doing the workbook solution for Social Science, First Standard 8, Chapter number 2, that is British Rule in India 1757 AD to 1857 AD. Before that, if you have not subscribed my channel till now, please do subscribe it for more videos. So we'll be starting with the MCQs. First one, whom did the British make the Nawab of Bengal after the Battle of Plassey? It's option number D, Mir Qasim. Second, who of the following gave the Diwani rights, that is civil powers, of Bengal, Bihar and Orissa to the British? It's option number C, Mughal Emperor Shah Alam. Third, which Governor General implemented permanent settlement in India? It's option number B, Lord Cornwallis. Fourth, due to which system was Bengal, which was known as the storehouse, rendered empty and impoverished? It's option number B, permanent settlement. Fifth, who was the pioneer of the Ryotwari revenue system? It's option number D, Thomas Munro. Sixth, in which two provinces was the Ryotwari system introduced in 1820 AD? It's option number B, Mumbai and Madras, that is Chennai. Seventh, under the provisions of the Mahalwari system, who was given the responsibility of collecting land revenue? It's option number C, the headman. 8. Who introduced the Mahalwari system in India? It's option number D, Holt Mackenzie. 9th, the East India Company commercialized agriculture in India. It's option number A. 10th, in which regions does the indigo plant grow? It's option number C, in hot regions. 11th, how many practices were there for indigo production in India? It's option number B, 2. 12. Until 1790, from which countries did European countries get their supply of indigo? It's option number C, from Caribbean countries. 13th, to whom was the Rayati tradition more beneficial? It's option number D, to the indigo factory owners. 14th, indigo is an important commercial crop of which Indian region? It's option number B, East India. 15th, cotton is an important commercial crop of which Indian region? It's option number A, West India. 16th, which of the following is not one of the tribal groups that lived in India during the 19th century? It's option number D, Vanshphoda. 17th, where in present day Jharkhand did the groups of Santhal tribes live? It's option number C, near Hazaribagh. 18th, which tribal group lived around Chota Nagpur? It's option number B, Munda. 19th, which tribe lived around Hazaribagh in present Jharkhand? It's option number C, Santhal. 20, which tribal group lived in central India? It's option number C, Khond. 21, in which area of South Bihar was the effect of the Algal revolt seen? It's option number D, Chota Nagpur. 22, what was the color of Birsa's flag? It's option number C, white. 23, under whose leadership did the tribals want to establish Munda Raj? It's option number A, Birsa Munda. Now we'll continue with question number 2, that is fill in the blanks. First one, the Mughal Emperor gave Diwani rights, that is civil powers, of Bengal to the East India Company on 12th August 1765. Second, Lord Cornwallis implemented the permanent settlement system of revenue collection in India. Third, due to the Permanent Settlement Act, Bengal, which was known as the storehouse, was rendered empty and impoverished. Fourth, as per the Ryotwari, the person who tilled the land was made the owner of the land. Fifth, the word mahal was used for village or a group of villages in the records of the British Revenue Office. Sixth, by the end of the 19th century, the British had established their power over the raw silk which was exported from India. Seventh, to increase indigo production in India, the British established Europeans in the regions under their rule. 8th, for the Nij tradition, farmers harvest indigo and take it straight to factories. 9th, for the Rayati tradition, a farmer would sell the ready crop to the factory owner at whatever was the fixed price. 10th, The better part of indigo cultivation was done in the Rayati practice. 11th, the British industries flourished due to raw material procured from India. 12th, the Santhal tribes earned their livelihood by breeding silkworms. 13th, the Munda tribes earned their livelihood by hunting and gathering forest products. 14th, the Khond tribes lived in central India. 15th, the Bakharwal tribes lived in Kashmir. 16th, the Khond tribes earned their livelihood by weaving cloth and tanning leather. 17th, many tribes practiced shifting agriculture by moving from one place to another. 18th, Birsa Munda undertook the leadership of the widespread revolt named Ulgulan in 1895 AD. 19th, before the 19th century, many tribal groups practiced sustainable farming. 20. The British felt afraid that due to Birsa's revolt, the tribal people would establish Mundaraj under the leadership of Birsa. Now we'll continue with question number 3, that is true or false. First one, after winning the Battle of Buxar, Clive joined hands with the Nawab of Awadh and the Mughal Emperor. It is true. Second, the taxes fixed with permanent settlement had to be paid to the landlords. It is true. Third, the permanent settlement system was in favor of the landlords. It is true. Fourth, there were many revolts by farmers in Bengal due to the permanent settlement system. It is true. Fifth, the pioneer of the Ryotwari system was Holt Mackenzie. It is false. Sixth, in the Ryotwari system, the person who tilled the land, that is the farmer, was made the owner of the land. It is true. Seventh, farmers made good profits due to the Ryotwari system. It is false. Eighth, during the 18th century, raw silk used to reach England from Spain and Italy. It is true. Ninth, for the niche tradition, farmers would use their own plows, oxen and tools to cultivate and produce indigo. It is true. 10th, indigo was an important cash crop of West India, while cotton was an important cash crop of East India. It is false. 11th, the Santhal tribes used to live in regions around Hazaribagh. It is true. 12th, the people of Khond community sold kusum and palash flowers to artisans for dyeing cloth and leather. It is true. Now we'll continue with question number 4, that is match the following. First one, Shah Alam II. It's option number 2, Mughal Emperor. Second, Lord Cornwallis. It's option number 5, permanent settlement. Third, Thomas Munro. It's option number 4, the Ryotwari system. And fourth, Holt Mackenzie. It's option number 1, the Mahalwari system. Now second part of match the following. First one, Governor General. It's option number 3, Lord Cornwallis. Second, Governor. It's option number 4, Thomas Munro. Third, British officer. It's option number 1, Holt Mackenzie. Fourth, Nawab of Bengal. It's option number 2, Mir Qasim. Now third part of match the following. First one, Khond. It's option number 2, Central India. Second, Lambadi. It's option number 3, Andhra Pradesh. Third, Van Gujjar. It's option number 5, hilly region of Punjab. And fourth, Bakarwal. It's option number 1, Kashmir. Now we'll continue with question number 5, that is answer the following questions in 1 or 2 sentences. First one, who was made the Nawab of Bengal by the British after removing Mir Jafar? After removing Mir Jafar, the British declared Mir Qasim as the Nawab of Bengal. Second, on which point did Mir Qasim have a difference of opinion with the British? Mir Qasim had a difference of opinion with the British about carrying out tax-free trade in Bengal. Third, when did British political rule start in India? The Mughal Emperor gave the Diwani rights to the East India Company on 12th August 1765. This was the moment when British political rule started in India. The British became the real rulers of Bengal with this power. Fourth one, during the time of which Governor General was the permanent settlement introduced in India? Permanent settlement was introduced in India during Governor General Lord Cornwallis' time. Fifth, the victory of which war gave the British the power to collect revenue in Bengal? After the victory of the Battle of Buxar in 1764 AD, the British gained the power to collect land revenue in Bengal. Sixth one, who were exploited due to the permanent settlement system. Why? The farmers were exploited due to the permanent settlement system because farmers had to compulsorily pay the land revenue decided by the landlord. These landlords would practice atrocities on farmers to collect their revenue. Seventh, what was the result of the permanent settlement system? Many protests of farmers took place in Bengal due to the Permanent Settlement Act. Bengal, which was known as the storehouse, was rendered empty and impoverished. Eighth one, who introduced the Ryotwari system? The governor of Chennai, that is Madras, Thomas Munro, introduced the Ryotwari system. Ninth, when and where was the Ryotwari system introduced? The Ryotwari system was introduced in Mumbai and Madras in 1820 AD. 10th, what was the main provision of the Ryotwari system? The main provision of the Ryotwari system was the person who tended the land, that is, the farmer who was made the owner of the land, and he had to pay tax to the government. 11th, who introduced the Mahalwari system? When? The Mahalwari system was introduced in 1822 AD by a British officer named Holt Mackenzie. 12th, where in India was the Mahalwari system implemented? The Mahalwari system was first implemented in the northwest regions and certain areas of central India. 13th, what according to the Mahalwari system was the unit of revenue? According to the Mahalwari system, the unit of revenue was not the farm of a farmer but the entire land of the village or group of villages. 14th, what was the result of the basic changes made by the British in the land systems of India? Due to the basic changes made by the British in the land systems of India, stability, self-reliance, independence and continuity of villages were destroyed. 15th, which products did the British commercialize? The British mainly commercialized products like indigo, cotton, raw silk, opium, pepper, etc. 16th, from which countries did raw silk reach England during the 18th century? During the 18th century, raw silk used to reach England from Spain and Italy. 17th, what was the speciality of Indian indigo? The speciality of Indian indigo was that its color looked very bright even on cotton cloth. No other indigo colored cloth was so brightly. 18th, how was indigo cultivated and sold in the niche tradition? For the niche tradition, farmers would use their own plows, oxen and tools to cultivate and produce indigo. When the crop was ready, it would be harvested and taken straight to the factories. 19th, how was indigo cultivated and sold in the Rayati tradition? For the Rayati tradition, a farmer would cultivate indigo on his land, and once the crop was ready, he would sell it to the factory owner at whatever was the fixed rate. 20. Which tribal groups lived in India in the 19th century? Tribal groups known as Khond, Santhal, Munda, Koya, Kol, Gond, Bhil, Van Gujjar, Lambadi, Gaddi, Bakharwal, etc. lived in India in the 19th century. 21. When was Birsa Munda born? What were his parents' names? Birsa Munda was born on 15th November 1875. His mother's name was Karmi Mundaina and his father's name was Sugana Munda. Now we'll continue with question number 6, that is answer the following questions briefly. First one, what were the provisions of the permanent settlement system? The provisions of the permanent settlement were as follows. Landlords were landowners and were given the right to collect land revenue. They had to work as the agents of the government. The landlords had to pay 9 parts of the revenue collected to the British and keep the 10th part as their remuneration. Second, what is shifting agriculture? Some tribal groups cleared the land by cutting some trees in the forest and removing grass from the ground so that the sunlight may easily reach the ground. The trees and grasses that were cut down were burned and the ashes were spread on the ground so that the soil became fertile because of the potash in the ashes. Once the crop was grown, they shifted from there to another place. They used to cultivate again in the same way, hence it was called shifting agriculture. Third, how were the farmers exploited in the permanent settlement system? The farmers were exploited due to the Permanent Settlement Act because farmers had to compulsorily pay the land revenue decided by the landlord whether there was a harvest or not. These landlords would practice atrocities on farmers to collect their revenue. This is how farmers were exploited due to the Permanent Settlement Act. Fourth one, why was the demand for Indian indigo increased in the European countries? Indigo was used to dye cotton cloth. The special character of Indian indigo was that its color shone very brightly even on cotton cloth. No other indigo colored cloth shined so brightly. Up to 1790 AD, European countries used to get their supply of indigo from the Caribbean countries. Since indigo production reduced in the Caribbean countries, the demand for Indian indigo increased in the European markets. Now we'll continue with question number 7, that is give historical reasons for the following statements. First one, Bengal, which was known as the storehouse, was rendered empty and impoverished. The farmers were exploited due to the Permanent Settlement Act because farmers had to compulsorily pay the land revenue decided by the landlord. So, whether there was a good harvest or not, the farmer had to pay the fixed amount to the landlord. These landlords would practice atrocities on farmers to collect their revenue. Farmers were exploited to a great extent due to permanent settlement. Rich landlords would buy land from the impoverished farmers. As a result, a large number of farmers became landless laborers. Agricultural production decreased in Bengal. So Bengal, which was known as the storehouse at one time, was rendered empty and impoverished. Second, the British government arrested Birsa Munda. During the revolution, Birsa urged the people of his tribe to live according to their proud past and to settle in one place for farming. The Munda tribes used to listen to and follow whatever Birsa said. The British were afraid that due to Birsa's revolt, the tribal people would establish Munda Raj under the leadership of Birsa in the region around Chota Nagpur. When the effect of Birsa's revolt spread, the British arrested Birsa in 1895 AD after falsely accusing him of creating hindrance in the management of the state by the government. Now we'll continue with question number 8, that is write short notes on. First one is permanent settlement. Permanent settlement was introduced in 1793 AD during the time of Lord Cornwallis. According to permanent settlement, landlords were landowners and were given the right to collect land revenue. They had to work as an agents of the government. The landlords had to pay 9 parts of the revenue collected to the British and keep the 10th part as their remuneration for the work done. The farmers were exploited due to the Permanent Settlement Act because farmers had to compulsorily pay the land revenue decided by the landlord. The government confiscated the land of the landlords who were unable to do so. As time passed, landlords started buying land. As a result, farmers became landless laborers. Second, Birsa Munda. Birsa Munda was born on November 15, 1875. His father's name was Sugana Munda and mother's name was Karmi Mundaina. Birsa's childhood was spent grazing sheep and goats, playing the flute and playing in arena. Due to the poverty in the family, Birsa Munda spent his childhood constantly migrating with his father. Birsa, however, took education in local missionary schools. He had heard about the struggle between the Munda people and the Mcqs in his childhood. He wore janoi. He also worked with Vaishnav preachers. At a young age, he engaged himself in the work of upliftment of the tribal society. And here we come to the end of chapter number 2, that is British rule in India 1757 AD to 1857 AD. If you have any doubts, you can write in the comment section. I'll surely try to answer all the questions. Thank you for watching my video and do subscribe my channel for more updates. Thank you.